Hi everyone, Lee here from FoundAt again. In today's video, we're going to go through some of the finer aspects of the augmented reality view in a little more detail. So to do that, I'm going to show some footage that we captured from the field earlier. Now, firstly, to access the augmented reality view, what we do is we click on the AR icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And then once I click on that, the first thing it's going to do is try and secure an accurate position so that it can show that content correctly. Okay, so then once I hold up the camera, then you can see quickly in the top indicator on the screen, it secures an accurate position. It says good and it goes green. So once I've got that, I can then scan around my environment and look at any objects. So you can see here all of the objects that exist in my current area. Now what I can do is I can walk up to those objects and interact with them. So if I walk up to this object here for this building, this is an information post. If I click on it, it's going to take me straight to the URL which it's linked to. So a quick click here, and then as you can see, it launches a web browser in the AR view. So I can now look around that web browser on the page. I can scroll through it. I can click on any links, I can interact with it just like I would any normal website. I will go through the detailed functions of that web browser a little later in this video, but for now I'm just going to close that one. And the other point I wanted to show here is that I can also now, if I do a long click and hold, not a quick click, a long press on that same cube, I'll open the actual post that sits behind this object. So now, once I open that, I can do all of the same sort of functions that I would normally do inside a post. I can like it, I can share it, I can comment on it, I can do all of those sorts of things. Okay, now the next feature I'd like to demonstrate in the augmented reality view is what we call the carousel view. This is really important. If you find yourself in a location where you find a lot of objects that are overlaying and they're all condensed in a complex environment, I can simply use a pinching together motion on the screen like you would for zooming out, and that will actually launch the carousel mode. So once I'm in this, I can scroll through the carousel and I can select any individual object and I can look at them on their own, and then I can take the same sort of action like I would normally with those cubes. I can click on them to access the URL, or I can press and hold to open the post itself. Now, to exit the carousel view, simply click on the three-dot menu and the view will return back to its original view. Now, there is one final feature I just wanted to demonstrate in the augmented reality view, and that's launching a web browser at any point in time. So to do so, I can click on the icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen with the www, and it will launch a web browser into any environment that I'm currently in. So here, it defaults to Google. I can enter any web address, or I can also create favorites, etc. Here I'm just going to enter a new web address, so I'll type in a web address into the URL page, and I use the keyboard on the phone, press enter, and then as you can see it goes straight to that new web page that I have typed in. So now what I'm going to do is just demonstrate all of the buttons on the web browser in a little more detail. Firstly, the first button on the top left-hand corner of the screen, if I click on that, it'll bring up a drop-down menu with all of my saved bookmarks. I can then click on the down arrow to highlight my bookmarks. Here I've got the FoundAt website, so if I click on that, it takes me to the FoundAt website. So I can, again, interact with the web page like I normally would. And just demonstrating here, I can even play embedded videos or any other content that might exist inside that website. Now, just looking at some of the other buttons on the web browser itself, the next button to the right-hand side is actually with the arrow button. That will actually, if I click on that, it'll launch the same web browser or web page that I'm currently looking at, but inside the native web browser inside my phone. So just in case you want to use features on your phone in more detail. The other button there is the copy URL button. So that's very important. If I want to copy the current URL that I'm at and then paste that into the creation of a new post, that's the ideal use for that button there. And then the last button there to look at is also the bookmark button. So if I've navigated to a web page and I want to bookmark that location, I simply click on that button and then it will bookmark that and it'll be available in the drop-down menu that I showed you previously. Also, we have the back button there. So if I click on that back button, it'll take me to the previous web page that I was looking at, as we're just looking at there. Now, on the right-hand side, the button that looks like a play button is simply to enter a URL text that I've entered. So we've been through that. And then the final button on the right-hand side is the X button to close the web browser. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful. As always, we'd love to see any examples that you have as to how you're using FoundAt. So please feel free to share it via your socials, or if you have any feedback, please fill out the contact form on our website. Thank you.